Hello everyone and welcome back to the Power Down, the podcast from Defending the Game. I'm Ash.
Who's going next first? Is it me or Finn?
Fuck it, I'll go first. And I'm Finn.
Well, you didn't go first because Ashley went first.
Yeah.
I'll be Nathan this time.
I'll be the one that sounds like me.
Oh my god.
I'll be the one that sounds like Ashley.
Can't get good help nowadays, fuck's sake.
You married one of them.
I
It's not
know.
when you wanted to, though, is it?
It's not.
It depends.
I
If
wanted
you're
you, mate, but you decided to be all heterosexual and shit, which is bullshit.
straightening up the podcast, how could you?
If anything, I'm consistent. I've had the same mindset since I was 6.
What, titties.
More of an ass man, but I'll take a titty.
I'm an ass man.
Or if you are,
No.
if you're a long-term fan, he likes bums and nipples.
Bums and nips.
Would you believe this was a gaming podcast?
Yep.
So, with the success of the PS1 podcast that we did last time, we've decided that we're definitely going to pursue it, and today we are discussing the PlayStation 2.
Woo! Confetti cannons everywhere.
So, a little bit of history. So, the PlayStation 2 is a home video game console developed and marketed by Sony Computer Entertainment. It was first released in Japan on March 4th, 2000, in North America on October 26, 2000. Jesus, that is a bit of a gap.
It is.
In Europe on November 24th, 2000, and Australia November 24th, 2000. So Europe and Aussie got it the same time.
I would say as well, it's weird to find out the exact date when PS2 was released because I've always thought it was 2005. That's when I got it.
2005? Are you mad?
I know.
I got it
right?
very late.
Came out in 2002.
I mean, on the PlayStation 1, like, the Aussies got it well late, so it was nice to see him to get it in time with at least someone else.
I'll be honest, though. I thought that Europe got it in 2001 for some reason. I don't know why.
It is the successor to the original PlayStation, as well as the second installment in the PlayStation console lineup. A 6th generation console, it competed with Sega's Dreamcast, Nintendo's GameCube, and Microsoft's original Xbox. I mean, compete with the Dreamcast.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. Compete with the Dreamcast, really?
Technically, it competed. It didn't, it
The
just, it
Dreamcast
left
was
out
there
the
for like
part where
6 months.
It left out the part where it just dominated.
Announced in 1999, the PS2 offered backwards compatibility for its predecessor's DualShock controller as well as its games. The PS2 is the best-selling video game console of all time, having sold over 155 million units worldwide. Over 3,800 game titles have been released for the PS2, with over 1.5 billion copies sold. Sony later manufactured several smaller, lighter versions of the console, known as the Slim9 models, in 2004.
That's what I'm thinking. I got the slimline version then.
Yeah.
It was 2005, it was the slimline version.
So I remember getting the original PlayStation. It lasted a few years, and then I remember the fans just...
I had... God.
I mean, it sounded like they were screaming in pain. So I was like, I need to get the Slim, because it's just not gonna...
I had 2 Slims. And the first Slim, I think it lasted until about a couple of months after I met you, and then it just died a horrible death. It didn't work. And then I got a second one.
In fairness, we met in 2014, so
We
if
did
it was
meet in
2004, it had 10 years of
I
life.
used it a lot. That PS2 was my life.
Yeah, my Slim actually lasted a fair while. I got the Slim pretty shortly after the big one. I had the big one, and then, yeah, it lasted for ages.
Let's face it, the PS2 was around for ages.
Nowadays, like, video game console cycles are around about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
The PS2 was pretty much like almost just over a decade before it was
And
discontinued.
Even when the PS3 was released, they were still making games for the PS2. It took forever for them to go, that's it, we're stopping.
yeah.
The PS4 was out for 7 years, I believe, before the PS5 came out.
Oh,
2013, I think that released. In the middle of somewhere. And yeah, you're right. The PS2 didn't stop being serviced worldwide until 2013.
Yeah, I remember that because it was in the news that January 2013 they turned off all the PS2 servers and everyone was like, what the fuck? Well, not servers, it wasn't servers back then. It was like online compatibility.
They were doing repairs, official repairs.
That's
for
it.
any machine that might be under warranty, for etc. Or if you paid for the official repairs, that's what they stopped.
So the year 2000, so what, we'd have been around 11, Nathan?
Yeah. Wait, maths. Yeah.
I would have been babyface over here, would have been 9.
Wow.
That's not too big a difference.
Yeah. I mean, I have many, many happy memories of this console. You know.
It got to the point where I couldn't. Like, you want us to pick 3 games from the
Yeah.
PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
It got to the point where I was like, I want to try and pick a game for each genre.
Yeah.
Rather than repeat genres, because if I repeat genres, it's not going to be a very interesting list.
Yeah.
I've added a 4th on my list as well.
I must admit, like, I struggled. I really struggled in regards to trying to narrow down 3. And I've got 3 that I want to talk about, and then I've got a series which I know that I'd played more than any other series on the PS2. So, you know, many happy memories of this console. Like, for me, it might sound silly, my biggest memory of the PS2 is not actually in regards to playing the console itself. It's going to Forbidden Planet when it used to sell them on the top floor. Do you remember that, Nathan?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, my days. It looks so different now.
I say, but I didn't move to Leicester till I was 2018, so I remember it in game shops, though.
It was probably called Another World back then.
Yeah, it was. It was Another World. Jesus, we are going back a ways. But yeah, you know, just going up to the top floor and seeing what games were second hand and, you know, what you could trade in and get. It was the basis for Kex and all the other trading shows for nowadays.
I think that was like the basis of my first crush as well, because one of the guys that used to work at the game shop near where I used to live was a little bit easy on the eye, and I used to go in partly for PlayStation games and partly just because I wanted
to look.
What's the word I'm looking for?
To stalk.
To stalk. Yes. Yeah.
In more ways than one.
He just had no idea who he is, though. But yeah, he was one of my first crushes in the game shop.
And that's how we knew.
Like, wait a minute, I used to work in a video game shop at the time.
There's a very small amount of people that could possibly work there.
So, given that we are joined by Finn this week, I feel that it's appropriate for Finn to give us the first game, you know, happy memories that he has.
Am I
for
breaking
the PS2?
my virginity on your podcast?
Why not?
Wait, are you going to give us your number 3 best game
I'm going to
first
go
and work our way
backwards.
up?
Yeah, I'm going to go from I'm going to go from number 3 onwards. Should we do? I do number 3 and then moves on to everyone else.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. So my third was quite easy. The number 1 and number 2 were quite difficult to place, but my third was quite easy. And I believe Nathan, your wife, is going to agree with me. Simpsons Hit and Run. That is the game that I played.
Finn.
I think that's probably the best Simpsons game I've ever played.
I thought you were going to put that higher.
Yeah.
No, it's only number 3. There are 2 that I put higher than that.
I mean, it was an insane. I mean, it was just a crazy taxi clone, wasn't it?
No, that was Road Rage. That was Road Rage. I didn't play Road Rage because that was previous. That was just starting on the PS2, but I never played Road Rage. It was Simpsons Sit and Run for me, which is basically Simpsons do GTA.
Sorry, I'm getting confused there. Yeah, you're on about
right.
the open world one,
Road
isn't
Rage
you?
was Crazy Taxi does The Simpsons.
Yeah,
this was GTA does The Simpsons, and it was amazing.
I'll hear. A lot of games did Grand Theft Auto back then because that's what the popular thing.
Yes, they did.
Look at you, Saints Row.
So I'm assuming, was it like one of the first games you had, or was it?
It was actually. Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, the first when I got the PS2 in 2005, the slimline version.
Yeah.
It came with 3 games to start off with. I got in ascending order. I got Shadow the Hedgehog, which was
Yeah.
I liked the branching storyline, but it made no fucking sense.
No.
Shadow the Hedgehog, and one of my quests that's not on the top 3, it just missed out, was Buzz the Music Quiz, which I absolutely destroyed my sister at.
Yeah.
I loved the Buzz the Music Quiz.
The Buzz games were good with those little controllers.
And Simpsons Sit and Run was one of the first games I got on my PS2.
Fair enough. So how old would you have been when you got it then?
So 2005, I would have been 14.
Wow.
And I classed the PS2 as the first console that I owned.
Yeah.
I got it for Christmas, so I didn't buy it, but I owned that one.
Yeah.
I had a PS1 beforehand. I had 2 PS1s beforehand, but I never owned those. They were hand-me-down ones.
Yeah.
Whereas the PlayStation 2 was one that I had. That was my console.
Nathan, number 3 for you.
We're moving on. Okay.
We're moving on.
So this was the hardest one for me to choose.
Okay.
Because I pretty much had the other 2 already secured. So I thought about it, and I'm going to go with, you're not going to expect it, Rayman Revolution.
I did not see that coming for you whatsoever.
No, I don't think you did.
No.
Let's put it this way: if I was repeating genres, it would nowhere near be top 3.
Yeah, fair enough.
But because I've decided to not repeat genres, I'm going to give this one some limelight. And here's why: Rayman 2 came out on the PlayStation 1 as well as other consoles.
Yeah.
Yes, Rayman 2: The Great Escape on the PlayStation 1. Get a load of this nonsense. It's the most incomplete version of the game.
Really?
It is, apparently it's straight up missing some levels that existed on the Nintendo 64 and Dreamcast versions of the game. Now, the PS1 graphics were better and had voice acting, whereas the other console versions didn't. But the other console versions had the levels that the PS1 version had missed out.
Oh.
So the games were longer on other consoles, but didn't have voice acting. So you sort of had to take which one did you want. You miss out on something. So what's the most complete version? Well, nothing has it all. Nothing has everything. You're missing out on something regardless of which one you get. Rayman Revolution on the PlayStation 2 is a complete remake, complete with
Okay.
a brand new hub world that included everything. The
Wow.
voice acting, all the levels, a hub world to connect them all, and more cutscenes than the original.
Wow.
Originally, when I played PS2 version Rayman Revolution, I was actually disappointed to find out it was a remake because I didn't realise it was a remake. I assumed it was a new Rayman game.
Yeah,
So I'm playing it, and the cutscenes are the same, but they're just better quality, and
of course.
maybe the voice acting's a bit different because I assume they had to re-record it.
I have
So
a confession to make, by the way. Before DTG, I'd never played a Rayman game.
So, obviously, Rayman 2 was the first 3D Rayman game, and a lot of people didn't like the 3D transition, but I liked it. I liked platformers.
Of course.
So, I'm playing this one, and I'm really disappointed because it's the same game. But then after I actually sat down and played it, I realised it was the same game, but bigger. Everything was more of everything, to the point where I don't need to bother playing Rayman 2 anymore because Rayman Revolution was way better. And then when I got older and I had the internet and I can see all these YouTube videos, and then people are like, did you know that this level is missing from Rayman 1 on PS1, but it's in the N64 version? And I'm like, what? I had no idea.
Oh, wow.
And then I realised that I'd played Rayman Revolution on the PS2 so much, I'd forgotten that level didn't exist on the PS1 version. So I just had no idea.
I mean, I'm very shocked by this because genuinely, Nathan, I saw yours being something along the lines of like Ratchet and Clank, Jak
Final
and
Fantasy.
Jak and
Whoa,
Daxter, and
spoiler
Final
alert,
Fantasy.
spoiler.
No, but
Spoiler
that's
alert.
no, but that's what I'm saying. That was like the order or some of like your game. So to hear you say Rayman,
Rattling off my
genuinely,
list, man. You're right.
genuinely, I am very shocked because I wouldn't, in our years of friendship, I would never have associated Rayman with you ever. So
No,
I'm very surprised by that.
When I was young, I really liked Rayman. I was really disappointed I couldn't have a toy Rayman because they didn't make them.
Oh,
The reason they don't make them is because the limbs don't attach to his body.
yeah.
How could you make that?
Yeah, because it wouldn't be child safe
Yeah.
then, would it?
So, well, no, wait, every individual object, his hand, his feet, they'd all be separate. You'd lose
Yeah.
something, and they can't really sell that as a single toy.
That's
What
what I
you
meant,
can
yeah.
get, what you can get are models, and the limbs are like plastic see-through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to the point where you're supposed to not know that they're even there.
Yeah, but you
They're
don't want
more
to model as a
expensive.
kid, do you? You want
No,
to...
you don't, and they're also more expensive.
Yeah.
They released an issue of a Rayman comic
Oh.
years ago in this country, England, right? It might be in other countries as well, I don't know. But they released an issue of Rayman when I was in high school, and I really liked comics at the time. I collected Sonic the Comic.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I asked for it and I got it. And it came with a free gift, and it was a free Rayman bag, like you would wear on your back and put your PE kit in and that, which
Oh,
I took
wow.
to school with me at the time.
That's awesome. That's a well good free gift.
It was.
That's pretty cool.
First issue. And then I never saw issue 2, ever.
Oh.
Years later, the internet exists. I look into it. I find out that it bombed so hard that issue 2 was cancelled, and so was the rest of them.
Oh, I hate when that happens as well, especially when you get into something.
In this comic, there was interviews from the voice actors. That's how I found out that the voice actor for Glowbox was the same as Sid from Ice Age.
I didn't know that until just now. I love Sid.
If you think about it and you listen to the voice actors for both characters, you'll piece it together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like Rayman. I played Rayman 3 Hoodlum Havoc as well, but I preferred Rayman Revolution. They're both on PS2 though, so I guess you can sort of consider the whole franchise in the list.
Yeah. Like I say, I genuinely am shocked because in our years of friendship, I would not have put that with you.
There's another reason, but it's a lot more nerdier.
Go for it.
So when I was young, I used to like drawing levels of games that I liked.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in my head, it was the more colourful, the better. And that's why I like drawing croc levels, because they're obviously very colourful.
Oh, yes, they are.
And if you got a lava level, that's great because you got green grass and you got red for lava and you got brown for platforms. I'm good. I'm golden.
Yeah,
So I've got
yeah.
all these colours going on. And the PS2 came out, and I'm like, what's the next game I can draw? Rayman is the most colourful game I had at the time, so that was the one I went for.
Fair
And
enough.
we're talking about like stuff we did when we were a kid in terms of like stuff you did via a video game. The nerdiest thing I used to do regarding a video game wasn't actually playing the video game, it was making my own video games up in my head and drawing the manuals for them. That's how nerdy I got.
Wow. I had a science project, some science homework once, and it was draw a picture to represent these words, and it was science words, and one of them was gravity.
Yeah.
And I looked in the PlayStation 1 manual for Rayman 2. It explains about ledge grabbing,
Okay.
and there's a very an artistically drawn picture of Rayman holding onto a ledge as if he's
Yeah.
like holding on, ready to pull himself up.
Yeah.
And it represented gravity to me because he was falling, so I drew it.
Oh, wow.
And I
Video
handed it
games
to my
are
home-
educational.
I handed it for my homework.
Again, I'm very, very shocked, but that's a nice, interesting fact that we've just learned about, Nathan.
How many times have I said in our videos, By the way, we do many videos. Please subscribe.
Yes.
How many
Please
times in
subscribe.
our videos have I been saying, Ubisoft, can you stop making Assassin's Creed and make a sequel to Rayman Legends, please?
Well,
We want it.
Yeah, that's fair. So, I'm now going to move on, and I'm going to go for my number 3. Now, Nathan will be very, very happy with this. So, my number 3 is Champions of Norath, Realms of Everquest.
Never heard of it.
I had no idea you would put that in the list.
Oh, it is an action role-playing video game for the PlayStation 2 set in the Everquest universe. It is playable with one single player or cooperative for up to 4 players. However, with a network adapter, and let's face it, who had that? Players can take the game online with others and kill others and join in to form groups of adventures. The game uses a rework and expanded Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance game engine. A sequel was created called Champions Return to Arms, which was released in February 2005. Now, Champions of Norath was the shit for me and Nathan. We played that game so much.
I can't believe I didn't put it in my list now.
Mate, I was looking at the
Was
list
it like
of
a
games.
bonding experience between you two?
You-
Kind of like this is kind of like what made your friendship.
you could play 4 players. That was big.
Yeah.
And
Finn,
we,
imagine Diablo 3 today.
Yeah.
But imagine it's 4 players local.
Oh my
yeah.
god, it'd go insane. People would love
No,
that shit.
no. Hear me out. Diablo 3 is 4-player local, but it has
it?
limitations. I believe it is, but it has
I thought it was only
limitations.
2-player, but okay. Well,
No, I think it's 4. The limitations are that you can only go into the menu for one character at a time. You have to take it in turns.
Yeah.
oh god,
None of that shit with Norath.
No, you could do
You can
all
menu
your
at
own.
the same time.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was your basic, how would you describe it?
RPG, man. That's the
Yeah.
And it's set in like fantasy, like
Yeah,
orcs, elves,
yeah,
all that
like
kind of
Is
D&D.
it
stuff.
like is like Dynasty Warriors, but set in like fantasy?
No, because it was
No,
like
no.
over the top. So
Oh,
it was like
okay,
a downward
fair
view.
It's,
Oh yeah, very much
isometric.
like Diablo then. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
But-
basically like Diablo.
Honestly,
Not
me
one.
and Nathan spent... Because the thing is, you could play the main game. You could just grind and stuff for hours, and you'd look for stronger armor and stronger... Me and Nathan would be on the menus constantly going, right, I've just found this, does it boost your stats? No, Ash, I've just found this, does it boost yours? Yes, it does. Okay, we'll do a trade.
It got
Honestly,
to the point where we had to sort of bargain with each other of
Yeah.
like, right, I get to open the next treasure chest.
yes, it really,
stats are
really
lower
did.
than
And
yours.
again, like, we had friends that we don't really speak to and anything anymore, but they liked it as well.
Yeah.
So being able to play 4-player was amazing.
Amazing, isn't it?
Tom played with us as well.
Yeah, he did.
I can't imagine like a younger Tom. Like Tom's always been the same age to me. But again, I've only really
Tom's
seen Tom.
always been the same age.
He's always been the same age, but like I can't imagine Tom being any younger than he actually is.
Honestly, I mean, Champions, and like you said, Nathan, I mean, we all know like Diablo on a console did not transition well. I've not played one, but I've seen the reviews,
clunky.
and it's
Oh,
yeah.
The older Diablos potentially not, but Diablo 3 is actually quite good.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
I
Fair
played
play.
Diablo
Diablo
3. It's good.
Me and the wife Gina, we've beaten Diablo 3.
Me and the wife.
The wife.
But in case we get a new viewer, if I just say Gina, no one knows who they are, which now I realise. No one
I don't think
knows
I've ever referred to Ashley as the husband.
Well, me and Gina, who is my wife, we played Diablo 3 together,
wife.
and we-
Who's Junior again? I've forgotten.
The cool
But
thing
no.
about Diablo 3 is that there's no limit on the difficulty. You can take the difficulty up
Wow.
constantly. Like if it's too easy, you can go up the difficulty, and there's like next to no limit. You can just go up.
But honestly, like, give us a game like Champions of Norath again.
Right, so Dark Alliance 1 and 2, they're games in the same genre, also released on PS2 and PC. Then it was Champions of Norath and Return to Arms. On the PSP, they released a game called, I believe it was Untold Legends.
Yes, I think I remember that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's 2 of those. And then on the PS3, they released in that same vein, I think it was called something like Shitty McBullshit Game, I don't know.
It was called Shitty Bullshit. I remember Shitty Bullshit.
It was released at last year's E3.
The reason I say it was made by the same company, and it's supposed to be like the next game up. And
Do you
it's
mean
next gen.
Sacred? Do you
No,
mean?
No.
Oh, okay.
Different developers.
Because Sacred was bullshit.
I can't remember what this game was called, but I wanted it because it was made by the same developers of Champions of Norath.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's the next game in the series. Not only is it gone third person, there's only
Oh.
3 characters to choose from. Champions of Norath had like something in the teens,
Yep.
and you could change gender for any character.
Yep.
This had 3 characters, 1 woman and 2 men.
Oh my god.
And it was third person, and nowhere near as good.
No.
What the fuck?
So
guys?
yeah, if you're listening, developers, give us a game like Champions of Norath, please.
They're
Bring
all on
back,
PC
bring.
nowadays,
I
aren't
know, but bring back local multiplayer co-op. Online is great, but I want to sit in a room with my mates sometimes.
I remember, just going back to my third one, Simpsons Set and Run. It was the only game that I tried to convince my sister to play video games because she's not a video game person at all.
Yeah.
And Simpsons Set and Run was the only game I convinced her to play. She got to least level, she's like the second level, and she pissed about for the rest of the level. And I got so frustrated because she wasn't actually playing the game as I wanted to play it. It's like, why don't you play the game? I'm just having fun. It's like, play the game, god damn it. Anyway, moving back.
Actually, play Diablo 3.
I mean, yeah.
It's the sequel you're asking for. It's literally the game you're asking for.
I know, but like,
We could play Diablo 3 on the PC, I think.
I'd have to
play
play
on
it. No,
console.
I'd have to play it with Nathan. It wouldn't feel.
Oh, shall I leave? Shall I go now?
It wouldn't feel right to me. It
We can
wouldn't.
play it together. It's online.
Yeah.
No, he's made his choice now. He's made his choice.
Well, maybe we can.
I'll just go fuck myself, it's fine.
Maybe we can do Diablo, Nathan. Maybe we can do it.
Give it a go.
Yes. So we'll head back to Finn now, and we'll go for Finn's number
there.
2
Oh, that guy.
in Silver Place.
I struggle with this one because my number 1 and number 2 could easily just switch places with each other, depending on which mood I'm in. Need for Speed Most Wanted, as in the 2005 version, not the shitty version that was released a couple of years ago.
I mean,
It was the best racing game I've ever played in my entire life. It was open world. I think it was the very first time Need for Speed had gone open world for a video game. It included loads of crazy random stunts. You had to defeat 15 members of the Blacklist. Again, I had a bit of a crush on the main antagonist.
Oh my god.
So that was might have been the reason. I didn't realise at the time, but that's probably the reason why I played it so much. But I just loved playing that game. Like, I could literally go through the entire Blacklist a day. I could do the whole game in a day because I've played it so many times. But yeah, and that's how I found out my favourite car is the Dodge Viper, because number 4...
And yet he couldn't
Joe
beat you
Vega
on split
has it
second,
in his
Nathan.
blacklist. Sorry, say it again. Say it again.
And yet
I was listening.
And yet you couldn't beat Nathan on split second.
Yeah, that's why I didn't put it on my list.
You can't go
Still
on your
hits home, Nathan.
It's PS3. You can't put it on your list.
I mean,
No, it was PS2. I had it on the PS2 and on the
Really?
Xbox.
split second.
It was at the end of the PS2 that I had it. So it was as PS2 was coming out.
And it was on Xbox 360 and PS3.
It was definitely on the PS2 because I played it on the PS2
Fair enough.
Weird.
as well as the
I
360.
mean, drivers were never mine and Nathan's cup of tea per se.
Oh yeah, no, I know I'm in a minority of one here. I was
We-
talking to Mark, we'd be like going on for ages.
If
but
we
like,
wanted races, we liked the like Crash Team Racing and Mario Kart. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
like we never got into like just driving around a track.
Yeah, Split Second was fun because you could break stuff. but I
Yeah.
never played Need for Speed. or
That's
any of
what
those
Need for
others.
Speed did it for me for Most Wanted. Is that it broke it up with the stunts and you can break shit and you get chased by the police, that sort of
Yes.
thing. It made it
Okay,
less
that's fair.
boring.
Yeah.
If I
guess
just took
the
that bit
thing
out,
is
it'd be
with-
very boring and very linear. But
I guess the thing is with the older Need for Speeds and Ridge Races and stuff like that, you can't break stuff. So when
No.
the sequels
Yeah.
come out, you assume it's just going to be more of the same but a bit better graphics.
Yeah.
So you don't really think they're going to change things up like that.
So how old would you have been when you got it?
what Need for Speed Most Wanted, it was probably the first year I had the PlayStation 4, so it would have been 2005, 2006.
Yeah,
So it would
fair
have been
enough.
14, 15.
Fair enough. Shall we move on to Nathan's number 2? Now, hold on. I'm predicting either Jack and Daxter or Ratchet and Clank.
Or Final Fantasy.
No, I don't think he'd do Final Fantasy this time. He did 9 last time. I reckon
Right.
it's those two, but I don't know in what order.
Ashley's pretty much on the money when he says it's one of those two. It is Ratchet and Clank.
I can see
I
that
like
for
Ratchet
you.
and Clank, yeah.
I'll go with the second one,
Okay.
if I had to go a specific one.
Does it have a specific name, or is it just Ratchet and Clank 2?
Well, in some places it's called Ratchet and Clank 2. In other places it's called Going Commando.
They all had kind of jokey names like that. That's the
Yes.
thing.
They did, yeah,
Yes.
especially in the early days. Yeah, they didn't care. But yeah, Going Commando, Ratchet and Clank 2, it was basically everything that Ratchet and Clank 1 was, except everything was improved. The best thing about, obviously, Ratchet and Clank is the variety of weapons and the destruction you can cause, and the fact that you can break things apart because they're all robots. So
Was
it's
that the
fine.
one that had the Easter egg in it where if you did a kickflip in front of the alien lady, her boobs would grow?
Yeah, that was the first one.
Oh my god.
that's that one.
Yeah, that exists. I have no idea why that exists. But the
I don't know
developers
why,
were
but
pushing
it's,
the boundaries.
if you do a kickflip around this lady with big bosoms, the bosoms get bigger.
And you can keep doing it until they eventually get stupid. So.
Yeah, there is a limit to them,
Yeah.
but
Big
they will
old
just keep
biddies.
getting bigger and bigger.
There is a limit, and I have no idea why they put that in. They just did because they thought,
So
well,
what is
find
it
this.
specifically about 2 then, Nathan?
Strafing was added for 2 because it wasn't in the first one properly. That allowed the gun combat to be vastly improved. They made it more. They added RPG elements because in the first game you had 4 hits and you were dead. And there was a point in the game where you could purchase a health upgrade, then it would become 5.
Okay.
And then you could purchase a more expensive one, it would become 8.
Okay.
That was it.
Yeah.
In this one, you could level up. You get experience points, you level up, your health goes up by 1 by every level up, and you can go from like starting off with 4 health to 200. Your weapons upgrade with use, so that makes you use them all. The game's harder than the first one, which is what it needed because the first one was too easy because you could kill everything with the wrench if you really wanted
I
to.
call that Grandia syndrome.
So yeah, the first one was too easy. Not for me at the time because it was my first platformer when I like proper 3D platformer on the PS2.
Yeah.
I loved that game. I played a demo of it. My dad gave me a magazine that had a PS2 demo disc in it, and Ratchet & Clank 1 was on there, and it was the game I loved. And I got Ratchet & Clank 1 when it was new. That made me want to get the sequel. It was funny because I bought myself the sequel because I had some money saved up, only to find out that my grandmother had bought it me for my birthday.
Oh,
well.
wow.
Oh no.
So I took the copy that I bought back
Yeah.
and refunded it, thankfully. But yeah, it has my favourite weapons in it. The gameplay's better. I would say the storyline in the first game is slightly better than the second game, but it's only slight, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, it's basically just the most complete Ratchet & Clank game. 3's good, but not as good as 2, because it takes too many shortcuts with missions and stuff. But yeah,
Okay.
I think 2's the best one.
You're looking forward to the new one's going to be released soon.
Definitely, Rift Apart. It's a day one purchase if I can afford it, and I'm going to stream it on Twitch.
Sounds good. Look forward to that.
I haven't played Ratchet & Clank for a long while, but when I did play it, it was really, really fun. I really, really enjoyed it.
I went off it with the PS3 versions. Not that they were bad, they were just, as each one came out one at a time, I felt it was going slightly downwards in quality, just one at a time. Just little bit by little bit, to the point where it pushed it pushed me, because the one on PS4 was a remake. I say remake. Yeah, it was a remake of the first game on the PS2. I don't like it that much. Which is weird because I platinumed it.
It's like, I hate it, I must complete everything.
The reason I don't like it is because it's a worse version of the original game. The original game was better in every way except graphic, and I guess the smoothness of the controls because the frame rate's
how
better.
do you mess up a...
I'll tell you how they messed it up. They made a Ratchet & Clank movie, remember that?
Yeah.
I hadn't watched the Ratchet & Clank movie. I missed that.
They made a movie, which was a retelling of the first game, then they made a game based off the movie, which would then allow you to retread the same planets that you visited in the first game, except with certain ones removed, so there was less planets, so the game was shorter.
Oh my god.
And the cutscenes in the game were were scenes from the movie.
So I'm just put this out to all movie companies that are thinking of making a video game. Don't.
The storyline in the remake was vastly inferior to the original storyline. The cutscenes was worse, the voice acting was worse, everything was worse. Except the gameplay was still fun, which is why I platinumed it, because it was still fun to play, it just wasn't fun to watch the cutscenes. I hated it. One more thing.
Go for it.
Ratchet & Clank was the first game I ever played that had a new game plus.
Oh, that's a nice bit of trivia.
Yeah, you could take over your experience points, your bolts, which is your currency, and your weapon experience over to a new playthrough, and the game would get harder.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And then your weapons would then be able to upgrade further if you repurchase them in New Game Plus. So you buy them again because the game starts again, but instead of it just being like, oh, you bought the same weapon again, why? When you buy the same weapon again, it actually then upgrades the weapon you had and then allows for more upgrade paths from there as well. So the biggest replay value of any game I had at the
that's
time.
a funky little bit of trivia, you know?
Yes, yeah.
Everything got more expensive on New Game Plus as well, so it made you have to farm for more bolts, and you could get currency multipliers. So the longer you could play the game without taking a hit, the more money you would earn on a multiplier. Yeah, it just became much more fun to play because of that.
So, for me, my number 2 was a bit difficult. Now, because
What about
I've
your game?
always... Yes. So ever since I've started this diet, the roughage is just not agreeing with me.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I had to.
I, as Nathan will know, have always enjoyed the Resident Evil series. However, there was a series similar to Resident Evil which I enjoyed so much more, and that was the Fatal Frame series.
Really? You put that in there?
Yeah. Specifically, Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly.
The one where Nathan got scared by his own sister.
That's the one one I streamed.
Yes, it
It is the one you
is.
streamed.
A Japanese survival horror video game developed and published by Temco in 2003 for the PS2. It is the second installment in the Fatal Frame series and features an independent story with a little relation to the first title. The stories follow twin sisters Mio and Mayu and Makora as they explore an abandoned village and experience encounters with the paranormal. Their lives quickly become threatened when the village spirits begins to possess Mayu and target them as sacrifices for an ancient ritual. Players must use a camera with powers of exorcism to defeat the enemies and cover the secrets of the village. Now, that game, it had good story, it had good pacing, it had a lot of jump scares. It was hard as balls because you had to remember where shit was. You know, it had a map system, but it did not help.
No hand-holding with that game.
Honestly, I remember Nathan's stream of it. Like, you had to get the photography perfect because if you didn't, nothing happened,
Yeah.
and then you got damaged. And
I remember Nathan at one point in the stream going, piss, piss, piss.
yeah, why is the camera not
Why is
working?
the camera not working? Piss, piss, piss.
I've since found out that you have to take the photographs of the ghosts like straight on face.
Yeah.
when they're actually looking at you.
It'll basically, there's a circle and you have to let it illuminate fully,
Yeah.
and when it turns red, then you can shoot them,
But
and
some
then
of them hide
eventually
their
you can
face until
chain
they're
them.
right close to you.
Honestly, and not only that, it was one of the very first games for me where it had multiple endings.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it had.
I thought it only had one ending.
No,
I've seen
it had
I've seen you
four.
watch the Markiplier version of it.
I am pretty certain, if I remember correctly, it had 4 different endings.
Okay. Do you want to spoil them now, or do you want to wait for people to play it?
Unfortunately, I genuinely only remember one, and that's where you kill your sister, and she becomes
Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't played it.
You killed. I mean, she was scary, but I don't think she deserved death.
Yeah, you killed your sister, and she became a crimson butterfly, and that's how you escaped the village. But that was only one of them.
That seems to be a theme with horror games on the PS2. A lot of them have multiple endings, because
Yeah.
Silent Hill did as well.
Yes, it did.
And then obviously the canon one is the dogs controlling everything.
But like Silent
yeah,
Hill
sure.
for me, I enjoyed Silent Hill, but not enough to want to replay it for a different ending. Whereas Fatal Frame, I was like, I'm hooked on this story. What is different?
Yeah.
My
And
dad
what
would
do I need to
disagree
do differently to get a different ending? Because obviously this was back when the internet again was only just becoming a thing. You had to figure it out for yourself. You know, having to take pictures of ghosts. I mean, I'm a spiritual person anyway, as we all know. But there was just something about it that really drew me in. The fact
know
is,
what?
your weapon is a camera.
You know that explains something badly. I could explain Fatal Frame 2 badly as Pokemon Snap with ghosts.
Pokemon Snap with ghosts.
The only similarity is a camera.
But genuinely, the Fatal Frames, and I'm really sad that it hasn't succeeded as well. I think it did really well in the East because obviously most of them were based in Japan.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty certain there are games still going. I could be wrong. I know that there was I think there was one on the Wii or the Wii U at one point.
I think there is one on the Wii.
I really wish that we'd got another version on later consoles like the PS4, the PS5, the Xboxes, you know.
Yeah.
But for some reason they just haven't, and I'm really sad.
It wouldn't surprise me if there was a spiritual successor out there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, if you're not going to do it, you know, games are getting remasters nowadays. Like, a Fatal Frame remaster. Could you imagine it, like, hunting ghosts in, like, high definition? How fucking creepy it would be.
It would be pretty cool.
Imagine if it was
Yeah.
the developers that did like Until Dawn. That would be fucking like soul destroying to play.
Do let us know in the comments if there is a spiritual successor. 'Cause I need to know.
Yeah.
See if we can get Nathan to play it again.
So, here we are at the valued, esteemed number ones.
Number one place. Number
So-
one position.
What was your number one game, Babby?
So, as I mentioned before, number one and number two can pretty much change places with each other. But for the purposes of this ranking,
Yeah.
I'll put it on most played. So my most played and most like had fun with game. That's my favourite game. And number one I put as GTA San Andreas.
Yeah, I see that for you.
Because
I didn't actually.
I have played that. That's one of the games on PS2 that I played the most.
Yeah,
I played it about 5 or 6 times all the way through, and that's a long ass
Nathan,
game.
he owns, like, GTA 5 on every console
No,
we
no,
have.
no, it wasn't that. I owned it on.
No, you've got it
no,
on
no,
Xbox.
Yeah, you're right. I've owned it on PS2, 360, and PS4. That's one of the things I have about GTA 5 as well. Is that San Andreas is a long ass game with a lot of stuff in it. GTA 5 has 69 missions. It's very
course it does.
short compared obviously San Andreas.
What
which
a
had,
very
like,
well
hundreds.
chosen number.
Yes,
it
I know they
was.
went for 69 because it's a funny number. But yeah, that I love San Andreas. It's a long game. I had so much fun in it. The customization is off the charts, and you know me, I like shopping. So I just put CJ in a different outfit in every single mission because that's me, everybody.
You're so gay.
There was car customization. You can customize cars. I was literally in my eye holes. I was a happy boy when that game came out.
I wouldn't say that GTA was big on mine and Nathan's lists. Like, I played
You're
them.
more on JRPG rather than
Like,
RPGs.
I played them, but whenever I'd play, I'd just do the cheats and dick around. I was never drawn...
I did that after I played the
Yeah.
game a couple of times. I did.
I was
put,
never
like, the
drawn
Cars Can
enough
Fly
to-
cheat on or something like that.
I was never drawn enough to actually want to play the game.
Can you remember when you got like there were booklets of just cheats for games?
Yes.
And the GTA
Yeah.
San Andreas one was like its own like volume in part of the book because there were so many cheats in
I
San
remember
Andreas.
getting a free one that was Final Fantasy VIII, which I gave to Nathan.
Oh yeah, that's in the
Yes.
cupboard somewhere.
It
I
was
was
free.
waiting for it to go. Oh yes, I burned it.
But I mean,
For me though, like if I play GTA, I might try and do the missions, and then I realise this is bullshit. I'm
Yeah.
going back to the dicking about with cheats. Thanks. I'll have
Yeah.
unlimited tanks spawning.
the only thing I remember about San Andreas is the quote, "You're just a liability, CJ." That's the only thing I remember from it.
All you're supposed to do is follow the damn train, CJ. Which is
All I remember
ingrained in
about San
everyone's minds.
Andreas, and when I say remember, I'd never actually played the game. But when all I remember is that it's the first GTA to introduce jetpacks.
It was. It
all I
was.
can
You
tell
could get
you,
one
'cause
from
someone told me that one.
the Black Mesa project.
All I
And,
can tell you.
and there was an Easter egg on top of the Golden Gate Bridge, which was there are no Easter eggs here. Go away.
Oh yeah, I've seen a video on that. Wasn't there one inside the Statue of Liberty as well?
Yeah, there was. It was the heart inside of inside of the crown.
I remember now.
Obviously, the first one was in Vice City, which was an Easter egg inside a building.
Right. I've only ever seen these videos. I've not played the game.
Yeah.
I played Vice City because I remember that was the first GTA game that introduced motorbikes. But I didn't play San Andreas.
Vice City had the best soundtrack out of all of them.
So, Nathan, what is your golden numero uno?
You ain't gonna expect this. You already know it's a JRPG.
Yeah.
You already know that.
Go on then, shock us.
Dragon Quest 8.
Nope, I see that for you.
You do, but you
100%.
didn't guess it.
I
You didn't
did,
guess it,
yeah,
though.
I didn't guess it, but now you've said it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Hail to the King?
No, it's not called Hail to the King. It wasn't called this in other countries,
Oh, okay.
but I think it's called Journey of the Cursed King.
Journey of the Cursed King, that was it. I knew it was something along those lines.
It might have been just called Dragon Quest 8 in America.
Fair enough.
Right, okay. Let's have some history lessons.
Yes.
Dragon Quest in America was called Dragon Warrior because I believe the term Dragon Quest was already copyrighted in America for something else, like
Okay.
a board game or something.
Yeah, there was
Sounds like
there
it,
were
yeah.
different board games called Dragon
Yeah.
Quest.
So they called it Dragon Warrior, and I think 8 might have been the first one in America that actually just called it Dragon Quest.
Okay.
It was the first Dragon Quest game in America to have that name Dragon Quest, so they didn't put a number with it, they just called it Dragon Quest Journey of the Cursed King, so as not to confuse people and be all like, wait, where's 1 to 7?
Yeah.
And then people in America could have been looking for 1 to 7 and realised that only Dragon Warrior existed and not Dragon Quest, and they wouldn't have pieced it together. I think that's how it is, correct me if I'm wrong. So when I saw Dragon Quest 8 on the shelf, I think in WH Smith's, I had no
Yeah.
idea what the game was, but I could see the art style was very similar to Dragon Ball Z, and now I realise it's the same artist, Akira Toriyama. And I just looked at it, I looked at the pictures on the back of the box, and I was like, this looks like a cartoon. Not my thing. It's not Final Fantasy, but it's got Square Enix's logo on it, so maybe it's good. I don't know.
Yeah,
Don't want to take the risk.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought you'd was like, well, I'll give it a chance then.
Well,
no,
I did
you
eventually,
didn't.
but for the longest time, I was like, I don't know. I want a new game to play, but this has Square Enix's logo on it, and I love Final Fantasy, so maybe it'll be good. I don't know.
Okay.
One day, I just took the plunge. I was like, what is this Dragon Quest game?
Yeah.
And I realised it was amazing. Not only was it open world on a
Yeah.
PS2, that was a rarity,
Of course.
but it was open world in such a way where you couldn't just go anywhere. Like there were bridges that were damaged, so you couldn't just go from continent to continent.
Yeah.
You had to complete everything on one place before you could move on to the next place. But the areas that you could explore were still quite large and massive, and there was loads of weird enemies. And then you realise that the storyline does actually get quite serious and quite dark, and the voice acting is good, the story is good, and everything about it was just really fun to play. And it was 100 hours long,
Yeah.
might I add. 100 bloody hours. But it was just good to play this game that I thought was the first of its kind, and then find out that there were 7 other Dragon Quest games before it that I had no idea about, that I now realise I can go back and experience. So yeah, my introduction to the whole Dragon Quest franchise was 8.
I mean, I do remember you playing 8 quite a lot.
It was the first 3D Dragon Quest, because 7 was isometric, and before that there were 2D. One of the reasons I wanted to bring up Dragon Quest 8 as well is because Dragon Quest isn't really in the mainstream over here in the West.
Yeah, that's fair.
Very few people experienced 8.
I played 8. I didn't complete it because it, like you said, with 100 hours, I think I got so far in, I was like, I want to play other things.
Yeah, it's mad how long it is.
Yeah. So, my numero uno was very, very difficult. So, my first thought in regards to the games was it was going to be Devil May Cry. I fucking loved Devil May Cry. It was dark, it was gothic, hack and slashy, it was fucking hard as balls.
Very much up your street.
But I didn't feel that it was enough for me to go, yeah, that's my number one. Because while I enjoyed them, for me, they had no replayability. Like, once I'd done them, I'm like, I don't really want to play it again. I've done it.
You didn't even put them in 3 or 2.
The next one, which me and Nathan played religiously growing up because we were mad on it as teenagers, was the wrestling genre games.
Yeah, SmackDown vs. Raw.
Yeah.
I considered that, but at the same time, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I'm like, yeah, we played that loads. And again, I wouldn't be able to pick one definitive one because each one, while we were growing, I mean, they're from what I read online, they are fucking awful now, but the PS2 era was definitely the peak for the games of those. Yeah, and we got
even the PS3 wasn't bad because I liked SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. That's probably my favourite.
So for me, I went on game that I probably sunk the most hours into and the series which I enjoyed, and for me, it is Final Fantasy X.
I should have seen it coming.
Yeah,
should have seen it coming. We said it multiple times before.
So Final Fantasy X is a role-playing video game developed and published by Square as the 10th main entry in Final Fantasy series. Originally released in 2001 for PlayStation 2, the game was re-released as Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remaster for PlayStation 3 and Vita in 2013, and 4 in 2015, Microsoft Windows in 2016, and Nintendo Switch and Xbox One in 2019.
The HD versions.
The game marks the Final Fantasy series transition from early pre-rendered backdrops to fully three-dimensional areas, although some were still pre-rendered. It is the first in the series to feature voice acting. Final Fantasy X replaces the active time battle ATB system with the conditional turn-based battle CTB system, and uses a new leveling system called the Sphere Grid. So I picked 10 because I definitely sunk the most hours into it. I really enjoyed it. I must admit now I'm like, because you heard how many ports it got, I'm like, this game is fantastic. It does not need to keep being re-released.
I remember you playing it a lot on PSP. When you
Yes. Yes.
PS Vita even.
I tried to platinum it on Vita. I tried.
The only thing is the sub-bosses, isn't it, Nathan? The Dark Aeons and Penance, because what you have to do to be able to stand a chance isn't worth the reward, unfortunately.
It's just too long.
Yeah.
It's such a grind to
I mean, what was it? You had to fill all the spaces and replace all of the spheres with +4s. Like,
well, you have to replace all the blank nodes in the sphere grid, and then fill the sphere grid with all 7 characters in the game, and it just would have took hundreds of hours.
Yeah, and you'd just be grinding for the sake of grinding, which
what I do find funny though is that there's some people out there who have done this on the PS2 version, and then the remaster comes out, and they're like, oh, now I have to do it all again if I want the trophies.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
It's 1,000 hours of my life.
The only ever issue with Final Fantasy X which I ever had, and it's just a personal beef, because I could never do it. I think I had to ask Nathan to do it for me once. That to get Tidus's main weapon, you had to get the Sun Crest, and to do that, you had to play a Chocobo mini game where you had to avoid seagulls and collect balloons, and you had to finish on 0.00. Like, it's a time score.
Oh my god!
And the closest I ever got was 0.02. I was fucking heartbroken.
I would be as well. I would just avoid it completely. I'd be like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it without
once I got 0.02, I yeeted the fucking table. No, not doing this now more. So I think...
Is that like the jump rope challenge in 7? Like, not 7, 9 even.
I mean, the story for 10 was fantastic. Like you said, voice acting, even though it had the god-awful laughing scene, which is,
I don't think it was bad. It was voice acted badly on purpose.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. You know, the story was good, the gameplay was good. The sphere grid, yeah, it changed it up a lot. It was the international version, wasn't it, that did the Dark Aeons? Because not everyone got to face them at first.
Yeah, then the HD version included
Yeah.
everything in one anyway. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
To do it, now, okay, I personally don't see using... So there's an Aeon you can get called Yojimbo, and it has an attack called Zanmato. Now, you have to pay Yojimbo to use him, and
Right.
for every attack. And depending on how well you pay him, and if you keep him alive in battle, never let him fall, he has like a 1 in 100 chance of using this attack called Zanmato, which is an instant kill for anything. And it even...
If you pay him enough, there's a 100% chance. It's
Yeah.
a big money.
That was like, well, I personally don't see it as cheating. If you can do it, do it. But there are a lot of people that are like, oh, you shouldn't use Zanmato against the Dark Aeons. That's not defeating them properly.
Like, well, if he fucking went into the grinding to get the amount of money
But
for him to get it done, that's
I-
fucking finishing it.
I remember Nathan, I think he was playing the remaster,
Yeah.
and he was fighting Yojimbo. So the Aeons have a dark counterpart, which are ridiculously fucking hard. They have like millions of HP. And Yojimbo, when you fight him, is it 5 times you have to defeat him, Nathan?
Yeah, and
And there's
the
no
annoying
save
thing
point.
is there's no save point between
Yeah.
them. There's no way I have racked up enough money to use Zanmato 5 times in
Yeah.
succession. So
I think
I
This is
can't
where
see
I
the
got to
face I'm
point where
making
I
to
was
Ash, but it's basically just a pain and anguish.
Nathan
Like,
got
why?
to fight 3, and then it Zanmato'd him, and he was like, no, not doing it.
I did kill him 3 times, yeah. And it got to the point where I was like, I'm going to have to just grind to boost my stat. And that's what I was doing. And then I realised, you know what? This isn't worth it anymore.
No.
Because I think I played for 300 bastard hours.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm done. Put it down, Nathan. Just put it down. Be content with your 80-something% trophy clear rate. Just walk away.
It's not going to end the world if you don't complete it 100%.
Exactly.
But, yeah, so Final Fantasy X for me was definitely my number 1. It had its issues, don't get me wrong, but what game doesn't? But
I didn't like the fact they removed the world map, but the story made up for it.
yeah, and again, like you say, having given that me and Nathan were such Final Fantasy nerds, to be able to actually listen for once and not have to read, like, was, oh my god.
And I like the voice acting for the most part.
Yeah.
It came out in like 2002?
Yeah.
What were we, like 12, 13 years
Yes.
old? We didn't care.
No, we
It was
did
great.
not.
You don't care at that age. You're just like, oh, that's my video game. It's cool.
Fun fact, the voice actor for Tidus is called James Arnold Taylor, and he also voiced Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that. That's 2 fun Ratchet and Clank video trivias you've given us.
But he didn't voice Ratchet in the first Ratchet game, just 2 onward.
So, now that we've discussed our favourite games, is there anything about the PS2 that we enjoyed or that we miss?
There's something that I noticed literally like the last couple of months before I got rid of the PS2 and got the 360.
Go for it.
Which was, if you got the slim version, underneath the disc tray bit on the side, the PlayStation logo flipped.
Yes.
Depending on which side you held it
Yeah.
up on. And I
Yes,
didn't realise
it
that
did.
until after, like, pretty much I was about to get rid of it and
Yeah.
noticed that you can flip it round, so it can
Yeah.
be vertical or horizontal depending on...
I hate that this has become a thing recently where everyone's like, did you know it span around? And everyone was
Yeah.
all like, if only I'd known back in the day, that would blow my mind. And I'm just like, I found it on day 1.
Yeah.
Nah, it took me ages.
I stood the PS2 up and then was like, oh wait, the logo's the wrong way round. Why is that? I touched it and I was like, oh look, it moves.
I loved the animated little boxes you got for the save cartridges.
Oh, I love that little
Like,
map as well, yeah.
yeah,
It would
you
be
know.
blank unless you save games, and then depending on how much you've been playing the game, the boxes would be higher or lower.
Yeah.
There's that, yeah. And there's this set on the memory card as well. Every individual game save to icon was like something animated from the game.
And if you played certain games on different days, they'd do different things. Like 60% run, if you played it on Christmas Day, Home would be wearing Santa suit.
Yeah. The fact that it was also a DVD player, you know, that was a
I
nice...
watched the majority of my DVDs on PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
I would just borrow all of Ash's DVDs when I got a PS2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true, he did.
Or the
Nathan's
Futurama
cheap.
box set.
yes, he did. It was fine. I'll tell you what I don't miss. The red screen of death.
I don't think I ever got the
God.
red screen of death. Or was it when the disc doesn't read?
Yes.
I don't think
The
I ever got
red
that.
screen
Oh no, I
of
did.
death.
I did. Tell a lie, because I got a load of games from Game Shop. So yeah,
it didn't make any sense because it made no sense because you put a disc in and if the disc is like scratched or not working correctly, instead of saying, oh, there's something wrong with your disc, it would say, please insert a disc, please.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have.
Stop
And it's
trying
like,
to
no, you've
stop
not.
trying to insert pieces of rings of cardboard in my disc tray. You know I only accept discs.
I don't think it was all of them, but a lot of the PlayStation games also had a slot for your memory card in the actual box, so that if me and Nathan wanted to play Champions in Norath, if he was coming to my house, we could continue our save.
I think I ever used that. Because I used to play most of mine single player. I don't think I ever used that.
I used it rarely, but we did now and then.
Yeah.
I remember one time we tried to put 2 memory cards in the box because we would like mine and Ashley's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we put one in the slot and then we just put one in the box and see if it would close, and it just wouldn't.
No,
bitch. No.
I think we're breaking the plastic.
Nathan, what's that fact about Brazil about the PlayStation 2? It's all my favourite facts about it.
The fact that the country that it was last serviced was Brazil and it got discontinued in Brazil because it was the last country that it was available in 2013, to the point where they gave internet access to the PlayStation 2 with the internet adapters. I think they were sold with the consoles after a while.
Yeah.
To the point where you could watch Netflix on the PS2.
Wow.
Pretty awesome.
I mean,
only in Brazil.
I don't think I ever went online with the PS2.
I rarely went online, I don't think.
Because Ratchet & Clank 3 had an online mode where you could battle each other in an open map.
Actually, I don't think I ever went online with the PS2. I don't think I had the internet until I had the Xbox 360. So
Same.
Didn't go online with the PS2.
So I had the PS3 and I had the backwards compatible PS3, which could play PS2 games. And I put Champions of Norath in the PS3, and of course that's got network connection without having to buy a peripheral.
Yeah.
So I went on the network with Champions of Norath, went to find a game, and there was nobody on the planet playing the game.
You're the only one.
It was an obscure game, and I was a bit late to the party, so it made sense.
But it was so
You're
fun.
the one that turned up to the party to clean up.
Me and Nathan really need to do Diablo now.
You can get it on PC. I'll download it for you.
I'm not buying on the PC. I've got it on PS4.
I think I'd happily say it was probably my favourite console.
It's my favourite
Just
console,
because,
definitely.
like you say, we got fucking years out of it. You know?
I went through 2 PlayStations in the cycle of PS2s being popular. I went through 2 of them.
Well, I went through 2 PS3s as well. Yeah, Jack and Daxter would have gone on my list. It would have competed with Ratchet and Clank, but Ratchet and Clank beat it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I nearly put, maybe not as number 1, but I'll tell you what I nearly put on there instead of Dragon Quest, just to be all like, play this game, guys.
Oh, yeah?
Grandia 2.
Ah, Grandia.
Grandia 1 is great.
Yeah, but
We've already
too
discussed
easy.
Earlier. We've already discussed the game was too easy, and it was. It was great. The characters were great. The storyline was great. It was a good length. It had some really good ideas. But I don't think many people played Grandia 2. So Grandia 2 was on the Dreamcast as well.
So I definitely wouldn't have heard of it.
Which is also why the graphics weren't amazing on the PS2, because they were just the same game. It was better than 1 in almost every way, and very few people played it. It had a bit more voice acting, not complete, but a bit more.
Yeah.
The characters were better. The main character was cooler. The storyline was better. The storyline was darker. It had like religious themes. The main female character, that's like the love interest of the main character, she's part of like a religious cult that are trying to keep the devil at bay.
Okay.
Eventually the devil gets out and is loose in the planet. Because of the ritual keeping him at bay, he couldn't return properly, so he gets split into pieces. So there's like the devil's heart, the devil's brain, the devil's whatever, and they all become independent beings because of how powerful they are. So the game becomes scouring the entire world, trying to find all the different bits of the devil, but then like in a dramatic twist, and not to spoil anything because it's revealed fairly early, but in a dramatic twist, a bit of the devil gets into the main woman character and you don't know it. And she's got like a split personality because of it, so she goes like she changes back and forth. So yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. It's definitely worth a play. And it's harder, so there you go.
Yeah.
Are there any other PlayStation 2 games that didn't meet your list that should be on it?
Star Ocean.
I was going to say
I was waiting, and it got said.
I talked about Star Ocean in the PS1, which is weird because I shouldn't have, because my favourite Star Ocean game is on the PS2.
Yeah.
And now that we are on the PS2, I'm not even bringing it up until now, so this is weird. But yeah, Star Ocean 3 Till the End of Time on PS2 is fantastic as well. But I want to give Dragon Quest 8 the nod.
I mean, if you've got PS4s, people, you can play it on PS4. If you've not played it before, I highly recommend it. It's worth the £17.
I have 2 games that weren't on my list that might have been on my list somewhere if it was like a top 10 or something like that. The first one would have been Sims 2.
Yeah?
Because although Sims 3 is arguably better, it wasn't on the PS2. But Sims 2 on the PS2 was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. And then another one, which I'm sure Nathan's going to call me a bastard for saying it or even mentioning its name, would have been Worms 4 Mayhem.
Oh, you bastard.
I knew it! I knew it.
Just
Well, I've
disgusting.
played Worms 2 and I played the original Worms because I had the original on PlayStation 1. Worms 4 Mayhem, which is basically Worms 3D. But nobody liked it. Nobody liked it apart from me and my sister. And we played it literally...
Well, I think that, unless anyone else has got anything to add about the PlayStation 2, I think we've covered a nice little segment of it.
I was going to shout out the word penis, but then you said about the PS2 and I was like, no. I had nothing else
You
to
can
add
shout
beyond
about penis if you want to. It's a free country.
I've tried
Penis.
to go into the more obscure PS2 games I liked.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ratchet and Clank's not obscure, but I feel like the likes of Grandia 2 and Star Ocean are.
Yes.
Dragon Quest 8 is because it's not as mainstream as 11. So that's why I haven't mentioned the big things like FF10 and Kingdom Hearts 2, because everyone knows and loves those games. And I was like, I could easily mention them.
Yeah.
Literally, if you were doing this whole thing, like literally every single entry would be like Final Fantasy blah blah blah, Final Fantasy blah blah blah, Final Fantasy blah blah blah.
Well, I like Jak and Daxter as well, but Ratchet and Clank was higher up for me.
Yeah.
I probably like Jak and Daxter more than Rayman on the PS2, I think.
Yeah.
But I felt like Rayman was the least likely expected answer.
It totally was.
I still enjoyed the game a lot anyway, so I thought I'd throw it in there.
It totally was.
But now that I think about it, I probably should have put Champions of Norath ahead of that, but I didn't think for some reason.
Well,
so I'm glad you covered that.
Mate, I got you covered. Don't you worry.
Thank goodness for that. I do know what's going to happen, though. We're going to get to the next podcast, which will be the PS3 one.
Yes.
And we're going to think to ourselves, I've just thought of a PS2 game I didn't add in the PS2 podcast.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
I think that's something you could put at the end of it. Just have like a retrospective of the ones that weren't on.
Just a little image of in
memoriam.
memory of.
Welcome to the world.
And that song that plays, I will remember you.
No, it's the sad music at the end of The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, I say we got everything then.
Yeah, I certainly do as well. So thank you for listening to Power Down Episode 2. Next time we will be discussing the PlayStation 3. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Look forward to the next podcast. And I've been Ash.
I've been Finn.
I've been Nathan.
Guess it's time to turn out the lights and power down.